it's so interesting now because it's not only people getting fucked up on open bars, but there's companies now that bring bud tenders and roll joints for.
Stop. That's a thing?
It's amazing.
A bud
A
tender?
bud tender? They're like, you want a joint? Do they have gummies? Like, no.
You're listening to the Laughing Couple podcast with your hosts, Brittany and Ryan Ostafy. Join them weekly as they discuss topics such as relationships, kids, sex, parenting, all unfiltered and all with a healthy dose of laughter. Please welcome your hosts, Brittany and Ryan Ostafy.
Hi, Trevor.
Hi.
He was taking a drink of water, okay?
You just made
I
a
know.
mistake.
I
You
know.
literally just made the server error
I know.
101. Never approach a
they're
guest
eating?
and say, how's your food while they're eating?
Well, I'll just go fuck myself then.
Yeah.
Like,
I wasn't sure if I was gonna if I should spit or swallow at that point to say hi back.
I love it. Okay, we have
That's
Trevor.
a question that has been...
Stop! Don't go
Yeah,
there.
okay.
We're not there yet.
He went there.
You are not allowed to finish.
Hey,
Right now.
I
Okay,
just
it's
said what
getting-
I said.
I
You
cannot
took it there.
spit or swallow, and now I'm not allowed to finish. Wow.
We haven't even we are not even on this podcast for a minute, and it's already going this way.
You don't have the choice. Spit, swallow. No, you're not even allowed to finish.
We have Trevor Frankfort here, and we are super excited to talk to him. We need to say, make sure you listen to the end because we've got something really fun to talk about. And
Not only really fun, it's an opportunity
Yeah.
for you or someone in your community to literally be handed $150,000 in X. What's X?
We're not
We'll
going to
find
tell
out.
you yet. All right, Trevor, can you tell everybody what you do and just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Hi. It's so good to be here.
Hey.
I am Trevor Frankfort, and my company is Trevents Wedding and Event Planning, and I am an event planner, but mainly weddings. I used to do so many different types of events, but I feel so connected to weddings. So that's
Okay.
what I primarily work on.
Yeah. And
I love.
what is that what it is? Like you've just been like, I love a good wedding. What other events?
I love a good wedding, but I also love the connections that I make with the people that I work with. It's so different from doing corporate events where it's just like money thrown at you, which is also nice. But
Mhm.
but there's no cushy like lovey-dovey feeling when you're working with a couple who are getting married. It's just you get all the good feels.
Right. And I think that it also comes with a certain set, like if you're an event planner, you have at least some form of creativity because you are trying to bring people's visions to life. So I feel like weddings specifically would really cater to that like creativity in the space.
I think for me, the coolest thing as being a wedding planner is you are seeing a couple probably at their absolute best.
Hopefully.
Sometimes I'm sure you see them at their worst.
Look at you, like,
And and their worst. Yeah.
But what
It's
I
an
mean by
interesting
that
dynamic.
is when it's very hard to keep the pre-wedding spark that exists between two human beings. And we talked about this with the 1 year thing. It's very difficult to maintain that. So the wedding, when you're talking about if you love, which you said you did, the ability to see it at its purest and at its best form 24/7 is huge. And I'm sure there are multiple situations where you're like, this is probably not going to work out.
oh my God. Do you ever have those moments where you're like, I give it over under 5 months?
Oh no, I never think things like that.
Look at his face.
Smart man.
Okay.
man.
Okay.
So-
Before we get into it,
yeah.
let's ask you. Our community knows we do. I love you and you're annoying. We'd love to hear yours because you got married last year, so you're coming up to your 1 year anniversary. Let's hear it.
Okay, so I have to say, so my husband, his name's Ryan as well.
Oh my God.
Phenomenal name.
What
by
a
the way.
stupid name.
It's an incredible name.
Never met a Ryan I didn't like.
I love the name Ryan. I dated 5. So.
But I have to say though that he is literally the smartest person that I've ever met. Like
Aw.
he's a genius. He works really hard. He's studied so much through school, has 2 degrees, a really important job. Our conversations at dinner are so different. He works in the medical field, and he works with the government as well. So I'm talking about how my brides are having like a meltdown at dinner about the flowers. Like there was this big issue on flowers, and he's talking about how the government and the doctors are coming together to create all these. So anyways, I have to preface it by saying that he's so smart, but what just drives me fucking nuts is there's certain words that he pronounces so strangely, and I don't understand, and no matter how many times that I've tried to correct him, it won't change. How do you say, you know what you have for breakfast? Sometimes you get them toasted, you smear some cream cheese on it. What are those called?
A bagel.
Like they're round.
A bagel.
Say it again.
A bagel.
Yeah.
What does he call it?
That's what they call it.
A bagel?
Bagel.
Bagel?
A bagel?
Like it's spelled like BEG.
A bagel.
Bagel. And same with like a bag. He'll say a bag. And I don't get it.
Does he have like an accent? Is he from somewhere?
No, totally.
Southern Ontario.
Yeah. Oh, that's so bizarre.
It's so bizarre. And it's the only thing that drives me batty.
You know what, though?
I would just replace it with toast. I would replace it with toast.
That round toast thing.
Yeah. Let's get toast.
A bagel. But you know what?
That's a great idea.
It sounds like very much because the States, like Americans pronounce things like slightly different. And even like out in Saskatchewan or BC, like they have small twangs difference into like our speech. But like people carved me on TikTok when I said, like I was going through Starbucks and I ordered like on like the mobile app. And they were like, mobile, you fucking idiot. Like they were ruthless. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And they're like, it's mobile. And I'm like, okay, sorry.
Does Ryan say anything besides bagel? Does he say anything else that's like wildly incorrect?
No, just anything with that A. So like bagel. Beg.
That's
and
the
it gets
worst.
confusing because I think he's begging for like when he's asking for a bag, I think he's begging for like it's just it causes such interesting conversations between us. Listen, and I'm guilty too. Like I say words strangely. I'm still I think one of the only people that says Toronto. You know how if you're from Toronto, you're supposed to say Toronto. But I don't know. I just think that sounds so trashy. Toronto.
It does. Toronto.
Like, sorry.
My mom,
you're trash.
My mom, I love her to death. There are a handful of words my mom cannot say, including kindergarten.
She says kindergarten.
Kindergarten, and she can't. Kindergarten.
Yeah, you can't say crayon.
Yeah, I cannot.
Say it.
No.
Say it right now.
Crown.
What?
Crown.
How did you say it?
Crown.
Like crown.
Like what you put on your head if you're the queen. Crown.
I wonder.
Pass me the pencil crowns. Why is that? Like, why? That's not that bad.
I wonder if there's a bagel-colored crown.
Oh my god! Yes.
Crayon. I can say it if you do it really slow. Crayon.
Yeah, but you're not going to be like, "Hey, can we get some crayon?" Anyways,
I'm gonna stick my crayon on this paper. No, I don't do it.
So
you know what?
Just call them like color sticks.
So you guys are about to celebrate your 1-year anniversary. Congratulations, by the way. Ryan sounds phenomenal. If the only thing that's wrong with this man,
that's what I was saying.
He saves lives, works with the government, and just can't pronounce a bagel.
That's fine. We'll let him have it.
Like and bag.
Bagel.
No bagels for you.
What other thing? Bangle tiger.
Round toast.
Yeah, round toast.
I think this guy's phenomenal.
Just because you have the same name.
It starts there and kind of just goes in the other. So one of the things, Trevor, that you had mentioned about what you do for a living, you neglected or stepped over the fact that like you're not just an event planner or wedding planner.
Kind of a big deal.
They're kind of a big deal in that space. There's an entire group of people that bring you to a very large audience to talk about this.
Mm-hmm. AKA the social.
So you're on TV talking about this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I forgot.
One of. No, I never forget. I have my mug right here always.
Yes.
Just to remind me. It's one of my proudest moments, one of my best accomplishments, something that I am so happy about and proud of, that I get to go on this incredible show and talk to these phenomenal women about different events and
Mhm.
parties and tips and tricks for DIY and trends in the event world and
Mhm.
weddings. It's the most fun. Something I'm so grateful for that opportunity. What a
Mhm.
ride. Yeah.
I love that we as a society get to have TV shows like that where it's literally just a bunch of adults and we get to talk about like social. I mean, it's called The Social for a reason, but like just to like educate people. And honestly, when you watch it, it feels like you were just shooting the shit with your friends. Like it's not so structured. Where I feel like TV used to be very structured and it was very like robotic, and now it's just like you're having a conversation, and I think that's so cool.
What I love about those women is that you see who they actually are. Like
Yeah.
that's what you get on and off screen. They're so smart and witty and just really supportive and amazing people. It's a
Mhm.
pleasure to be able to play on their playground.
That's so good. That's so good to hear, especially in that space, because that's not always the case. Okay, so because you've seen a lot, we said before we actually recorded, Trevor has seen some shit, guys,
Yeah.
because he has been doing this for 8 years. So
He's got scar tissue.
the, the amount of
I got
weddings.
wounds.
Oh my God. Okay, so could you maybe share with us one or two or three or however many you want examples of maybe one of the most like memorable moments in your career as a wedding event planner, and maybe one of the most like, oh my God, like maybe not negative, but like, did that just actually happen? Because I have some I want to share with you, and I'd love to hear your stories. I love good stories.
Oh my God, yeah. I like you said, I've seen a lot, and every time I think that I've seen everything, something new happens, and I'm just like, what the fuck? How is this really
Yeah.
real? I worked a wedding recently. This summer has been shit for weather. Like all these
Oh
outdoor
yeah.
weddings have just been pouring on top of. And the
Oh,
worst part of my job is that everybody looks to me all day to make the decision of are we doing our rain
right.
plan or are we gonna wait it out?
Yeah.
And recently we had to take on the rain plan, which meant we had to take everything from the ceremony space and set it up indoors because it was supposed to be out in this gorgeous, gorgeous field, like the most breathtaking view. And so I obviously had to be the one to tell my
Hmm.
bride. So I went up to her while she was in her getting ready room, and I just said, "Okay, we waited as long as we could, and I'm
Hmm.
so sorry. I know you picked this venue because of the outdoor space, but we have to do the indoor plan." And she looked at me and she said, "Okay, may I have a glass of water?" I said, "Okay,
Yeah.
that's an interesting reaction." So I went and I poured her a glass of water and I brought it to her hesitantly because I'm wondering, like, is she gonna like throw
Throw
the
it in your
water in my
face.
face? Or she took a sip of
Right.
water and took the glass and just fucking chucked it across the room at the
Stop.
wall, glass everywhere, water everywhere. And then she said, "Okay, let's
I'm
do it
dead.
inside."
The fact that she was like, fill it up first with water.
Don't give me a glass. I
Like,
want that shit full.
I like that she was like,
I
I'm
want
going to
some.
make a statement.
I want some weight behind this glass.
I thought you were going to say that she like was going to like pour it on her and be like, is it okay? Like, what this is what I'd look like if I was wet outside. Like, do I still look good?
That's where your mind
I honestly
went?
was like, I don't know why would she want water? And then I was like, maybe she'll throw it in your face. But I love that she was just like, no, I need to get my rage out.
That's where you thought the story was
Well,
going to go.
if he would have said
Just
that
pour the gasoline on me.
if he would have said that she wouldn't have filled it up. Like, I just thought that was so strange that she was like, I need water in it. I mean, it works. How was it? Did it go off? No problem.
At this point, I had so much respect and adoration for this woman. I was like, okay, you know what? You do you, boo. That was just the best thing ever. Throw that shit, but I'm not cleaning it up.
No.
You can
Was
clean
she
up
just
your own
like,
mess.
all right, I'm done. Like, and then you just
Ready
like
to
carried
go.
on, like didn't even acknowledge. Clean
Hand me
up
my
an aisle
bouquet. Let's
forward.
walk down the aisle.
That is like straight up control. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to feel my feelings for 5 seconds. Everyone in this room is going to realize how disappointed and upset I am going to be. And then we're going to get this shit on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
That would
that's like
suck.
similar to advice that I always give my couples if something happens that is out of their control. Like recently, there was a company that went bankrupt in Toronto, and they had 3 venues that shut down because of bankruptcy, and tons of couples were supposed to get married at this venue had to now find a new venue to get married in. 2 of my couples were affected by this. One of them was getting married 10 days from the day of the bankruptcy.
Oh my God.
And the other one 3 weeks later. So they paid and lost a lot of money because
they didn't get their money.
They're not getting that back.
Oh.
But I always say to people, my advice is always have your pity party, have your moment, throw a glass against the wall, cry, scream into a pillow, do what you got to do, but don't stay too long. Nobody likes someone who just lingers at a party. So have the pity party and then pick yourself up and let's figure out what plan B is.
I like that. Nobody likes people who stay too long at the pity party. Like, get your shit together, okay? Okay, so that's
sound
I like
advice.
that. I like that. Like, feel your emotions.
Feel the feelings.
You have to.
And then do something about it.
Yeah, because nothing's worse is when somebody is like, okay, like get over it. No, like let me be angry.
And as a planner, you're a planner, but you're also a fixer. Right? To be a planner is like, I'm going to spend every waking moment to make sure that this thing goes off without a hitch.
You're like Ray Donovan.
Everything is thought about. And when it's not, I have a solution and I'm going to have that solution and I'm going to fix it right now. So for you, your whole idea, and I could be wrong, I could just be blowing smoke everywhere, but correct me if I'm wrong. Your whole idea is, if shit does go wrong, there's going to be a solution. Let's move towards that, because the overall goal is that we have a wedding, you get married, we have beautiful pictures, you have beautiful memories. So yes, this is shitty, and let's move on.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool.
Don't need to correct you. You are right. And it's an important part of my job to be able to be that fixer and also to be calm in every situation. Yes. I do a lot of yoga and a lot of meditation because I'm accepting in so much nervous energy throughout the day from people, because every wedding, everybody's anxious. No matter how much we can plan and how well we've arranged for everything to be, there's anxiety. And so I need to be able to block that, because that's a lot of negative energy, a lot of nerves.
You're like a sponge.
So Trevor, I know that this pisses my wife off because I'm a fixer.
Oh,
what's it like with Ryan when something's going wrong? You are genetically built and programmed to just move on, right? What's it like living with someone who in the medical field is like, usually those things they're not done the same way?
Are you asking in our actual relationship, like how?
Yeah, like how does he handle it? Because Brittany hates it.
No, but I don't think you're being clear. Like when I think that the difference is, and you're better at this, but because Trevor has to have that moment where he says like, feel your emotions, and then like, let's come up with a solution. When I get angry, and we've done a lot of work on this, but like Ryan is a straight fixer. He'll go straight into the resolution, where now, like sometimes I just want to be angry or I want to be upset. So before we have a conversation, I have to say, I'm going to tell you something, and it's just venting. And now he's like, well, what do you want from me? Do you want me to find a solution? Do you want me to be like, yeah, they fucking suck? Like, I'm your sounding board, or am I your fixer? It's more like when I don't have the opportunity to feel my emotions and you just go straight into trying to fix the problem, that I'm like, I don't need a solution. I just want to be angry.
That's so good that you are both like that, because we're very similar in that respect. But I had to learn over the last few years of us being together, to ask that same question, Ryan, that you ask. And that is, do you want me to just be pissed off with you?
Right.
And do you want me to cry with you? Do you want me to go like burn somebody's house down? Or do you want me to come up with a solution?
Yeah.
And maybe the solution is to burn that person's house down. Who knows? But I'll help come up with it.
It's fine.
Bring the shovel. The shovel.
Okay.
So Trevor, you want to do this?
No, go ahead.
Trevor?
No, I wanted to know more specifically. So do you have I think it's easier to maybe remember like memorable guests as opposed to maybe the bride and groom, because they're typically on their best behavior because they are so anxious about things. But like guests are the ones that get fucked up at the wedding. Like they don't care. There's always a crazy, creepy uncle. Like there's always somebody. You're not the crazy, creepy uncle.
I'm just the one that gets fucked up.
Okay, well, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But like, do you have some stories for us in that respect? Because I feel like those are where like the gems lie.
Yeah, it's so interesting now because it's not only people getting fucked up on open bars, but there's companies now that bring bud tenders and roll joints for people at weddings. And
That's a thing?
it's amazing.
A
yeah,
bud
it's
tender?
so
A bud
cool.
tender? They're like, you want a joint? Do they have gummies? Like, no.
So no
So
gummies
cool.
yet. They do infuse uh, weed or THC and CBD into drinks now as
Right.
well. But this particular wedding had a bud bar, so it was a setup with all the different strains of weed,
Oh my
and
God.
the bud tenders are kind of like sommeliers, but for
Weed.
marijuana,
Yeah.
and they are there to educate you on the different strains, and you smell them and try and
Oh my
compare them
God.
to like coffee beans or berries or citrus, and then you
Interesting.
choose the one that you want. They roll it up, or sometimes it's pre-rolled. They give it to you in a little tube, and then you go off and you smoke your weed. And so
That is
you see
funny.
different types of things at weddings when people are stoned as opposed to just shit-faced drunk, or a combination of both now. It's
Right.
really fascinating. But yeah, it's like you said, uncles, cousins, grandparents are just like,
Oh my God.
they're the
That
most
is so
fun to
funny.
handle at weddings. There was one gentleman who, this wedding was 400 people. So there's a
Oh
lot
my,
of tables that
Jeez.
need to be fed. Yeah, big wedding.
I don't know
And
400 people.
but who does?
They don't either.
Like, open a Facebook group, and
Wow.
is Facebook still a thing? Do people still use
I don't
Facebook?
know. I think my
Facebook group,
parents
and
do.
just say like, "Come on in, like come
Mhm.
to our wedding."
400 people at your wedding. Ooh.
There was a gentleman at one of the tables who pulled me aside and just told me how hungry he was, and he would like to be fed. And I said, "Oh my God, yeah, of course." And the food is going to be coming out. We have to get the bride and groom in here. Like, they're
Yeah.
going to have their big grand entrance, and then a couple of words will be said, and then the first course will be brought out table by
Yeah.
table. And he said, "Well, can you?" He started getting a little bit more angry. I'm being really polite about how he was talking,
Yeah.
but he was really rude, and he was basically just saying like, "Can you feed me first?" And I said, "Well, like, it has to go in a specific order for the kitchen." "Well, can I go talk to the kitchen?" I'm just like, come on, man, like, you're gonna get fed. Like, it's
The audacity.
Your table 47, you're in the back left corner.
The
Let's start with
audacity,
the
though.
bride and groom with the food, please.
But people have no shame. Like, there's no
No shame.
shame. Oh my God, that is so awkward. So, I remember this one wedding, and I was young. Like, this was one of the first golf courses that I worked at, and the bride, and this is something I also want to ask you about after, but like, her tastes wouldn't have been my taste. Let's just put it that way, for her wedding and decor and her dress or whatever. But it's like, she doesn't, who cares about my opinion? Like, I'm the young bartender, doesn't matter. So, but she had, it was kind of, it wasn't Barbie themed, but it was hot pink. There was a lot of hot pink, which could be cute. Absolutely could be cute. But it was like, so her dress was hot pink. The table coverings were all like, there was no other color. Like, it was wild. And she requested that all of the servers wear hot. It was just so much pink. And so that's not the crazy one that I want to talk about, but like,
Everyone was just camouflage.
it was a lot. Like, it was like you had to wear pink. There was no other colors. And like, there were like different shades. Like, it was just like barf worthy. But how do you deal with like maybe a bride and groom, or a groom and groom, bride and bride, whoever that wants their vision, and like, maybe if you don't agree with it, is it hard to do something that you don't particularly like, or do you have like slight suggestions to be like, maybe this?
Yeah.
instead?
So one of the things that I think keeps me hireable is that I'm just me. Like, I'm going to tell you if I think something sucks. I'm going to tell you if I don't think it's a good idea. But I'm also
Yeah.
going to commend you when you do have great ideas. And I do it gently. Like, if I think something's going to be a little too much, I'll just kind of find a way to say, maybe we should kind of do it this way. And people appreciate that. I mean, I wouldn't want to work with a yes man. And so if people
Yeah.
are expecting a yes man, I suggest that search elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you're hiring an event planner and a wedding planner, you're really hiring their skill set, because if you don't take their advice, then you would have just planned your own wedding,
Well,
right?
that's the thing. Oh my God, check this out. So, perfect example of that. So, another reason why people like to hire an event planner is for their connections. They
Yeah.
know really great people that are going to deliver the
Vendors.
product, that are going to be just all around good people, and someone you would want to surround yourself with on the day of your wedding. And I love the list, my army of vendors, I call them, that I've curated over the years. But it boggles my mind when people don't want to take my advice, when they're just like, no, we have this caterer that's going to save us $2,000. And like, I'm talking about a specific wedding
Yeah.
that was a very expensive budget. It was around $100,000, and just save $2,000 on food for me was a little bit of a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
Like $2,000 in that huge budget is not a lot of money.
Right.
And what happened was the food was rotten.
Ew.
So it was a buffet. I walk by it. I smell this smell that's not very appealing. And I realize that it's coming from the food crafts. Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Buffet style?
Yeah, I guess.
Anyways, so I went and talked to the kitchen, and they had to remove all of the food. People were sick the next day because we didn't get it taken away on time. Was it worth saving $2,000 for an
No.
experience like that? I don't think so, because if you would have used one of the vendors that I had recommended, I'm
Right.
not saying that it wouldn't have happened, but the likelihood of this happening
Sure.
is a lot less.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to me.
Yeah. And I guess that's the wedding that you wish Harry Hungry would have been like, can I be served first? And he's puking in the corner.
I'll get,
For sure. Here you go.
Here's some chicken that hasn't been cooked, Harry.
Oh my God.
So you just mentioned price and cost. And one of the main reasons we wanted to get you onto this podcast is because something that you're doing, something that you have curated
so cool.
to be able to help people out. We are in a state in our country here in Canada, and as I know in the United States as well, where things are getting much tighter for people.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I had the privilege of having a conversation prior to this one where you had said, you know, if you could go back in time and tell yourself and your wife, hey, let's not spend $50,000 on our wedding. Instead, let's put that towards our mortgage or something along those lines. Would you make that choice? And that's a very difficult choice to make when you've been told your whole life that this is the
Mm-hmm.
day of all days, right? You've seen it. It's the Disney princess culture of.
Well, it's like the most magical place on earth with Disney, but you're spending for one day.
For one day. And so because the times are tough, and because the cost of weddings are what they are, and because you are who you are, let's talk about what you've created for not our community, for the community,
Mm-hmm.
and see how we can benefit from that. Not we, but our community.
Yeah,
This is really
thank
cool.
you. Thanks. Yeah, I think it's really cool too. I had been thinking a lot about how I wanted to give back, how I wanted to help somebody, how I wanted to potentially change somebody's life.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that I was thinking about was charity events, fundraisers. And those are amazing events, but it wasn't screaming to me to do this, to get involved in something like that. So I thought, what do I love? I love love. I love events. I love weddings. And I love games. And then I was like, oh, maybe I could create some sort of game that has to do with weddings, or a competition
Mm-hmm.
that where the ultimate prize is the most amazing wedding ever. And so that started getting the wheels turning. And so that's what I did. I created a contest where I'm giving away an entire wedding valued at $150,000 to a lucky couple, for them and 50 of their guests. It's happening on February 9th in 2024 at the Globe and Mail Center in Toronto. So a very, very nice venue with the most incredible view of the city. And what people have to do to win, it's not just one of those contests where you just tag your friend and some random person wins. This is something that people are going to have to work for. And so I want people to submit a video to me. I want to see who you are, who you and your fiance are, and why you want to win this wedding.
Okay.
I'm looking for people that have a story to tell. And myself and a few other industry experts are going to be the judges in this competition, and we're going to narrow the submissions down to 3 finalists. And then I'm putting those 3 finalists through wedding planning challenges. They're going to go head to head against each other.
Stop.
And then opening
Are you
it
gonna
up.
film these? I want to see them. You should film
Oh yeah,
them.
we're filming it all. You're going to see all this
I
content.
love that.
But then you all are going to vote for one of those 3 couples who deserves it the most, who should win the best wedding ever.
It's like the
How fun
Amazing
is that?
Race. That's so fun.
It's The Amazing Race, Survivor, RuPaul's
Yes.
Drag Race, like all of my favorite reality competition shows thrown together, but with a theme of weddings.
Can you give us like an example of one of the competitions that they would have to do without giving it away?
Yeah.
Or you can.
So let's say the 2 of you were one of the couples that were competing.
We would lose.
we would literally get divorced. Like
We
that's
would
the one
lose.
thing we were offered to
During the
go on the
competition?
Amazing Race, and we said no because we would not make it. Like we would 1000% be divorced. Like we
Day
wouldn't do it.
one. Day one.
I want to go on the Amazing
airplane.
Race so badly.
You can go with Ryan or with me, but we wouldn't be able to end together.
I would love to go on it with my sister.
Fuck you. We're really great at other things,
Yeah.
but not that.
We don't travel well together, and we know this.
No, we travel together. It's just getting there. We're both very like alpha people.
The
Like this is
traveling
where to go.
part of travel, we don't
Anyways,
do well
okay,
together.
give us an
Sorry,
And
example.
the producers are probably like, this would make such good TV. And you're
Yeah,
just like, this will
probably.
ruin our relationship. So who
100%.
wins?
100%.
It depends on what happens after the show.
In
Okay.
a magical world where you could compete in something
Right.
like this, I assume that, Ryan, you don't wear makeup.
I do
You
not,
paint
no.
your face.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So in this challenge, you would have to do Brittany's makeup and make her look like a beautiful bride.
Like
and
bridal
so that's
makeup.
what each bridal makeup. So we'll have a model there
So
to show
fun.
you what the makeup should look like, and you're going to have to replicate that on your wife's face. So that's just one of the challenges. But,
So
but this
cool.
is the idea of what these challenges are going to be like. I don't want to give them all away.
Mhm.
But
But
it's
that's so
going to
fun.
be
And he would
so much
actually
fun.
be so good at that because he's
Thanks, babe.
very, very creative. Like he's actually a really good artist. Now I want to just do that just for content.
Okay, so let's talk about how you apply to it. What's the process involved in it? And then you'd said that the wedding there's a firm date on the
Yes.
wedding. So if you are listening to this podcast, because we have an incredible community, and believe it or not, there are a lot of people that listen to this podcast that are not couples, that are not in a relationship, that
Or maybe-
aspire to be in one.
Or maybe they are in a relationship and they just haven't got married yet because of funds.
So
But
if you're listening to this podcast and you are contemplating getting married, or you know someone that is in the process of getting married, this wedding is going to happen when?
February
February
9th.
9th?
February 9th, yep, 2024. And this is a good push for those people to just go get
Do it.
engaged.
Yeah.
If
Just
you're thinking about
do
it, do it.
100%.
Yeah.
So included in the $150,000 worth of curated offers, you get the venue. What else is involved?
You pretty much get everything that has to do with the wedding, except there's certain things that costs, like a marriage license. I'm not covering that cost, but pretty much you're getting the venue. You're getting me to plan it and execute the day. You're getting the food. So the venue is the Global Mail Center. The caterers, food dudes, all of these vendors are the most sought after vendors in the industry. We're getting the most gorgeous floral installation possible, plus centerpieces and bouquets and
All of
boutonnieres,
that.
depending on the gender of the couple.
What about
Furniture,
invites?
invitations, the day of stationery, so a seating chart and menus and table numbers, staff.
What about dress?
If you want to wear a dress, there's a dress. If you want to wear a
Okay.
suit, there's a suit.
Amazing.
Even the wedding bands are going to be part of this
so nice.
prize. Somebody we both know, or all 3 of us know and love, Tarot Lori is going to be reading tarot during cocktail hour.
Stop.
Is
We're
that
just going to
amazing?
show up, actually. We're just going to be like, hey,
And by the way, the laughing couple are going to be there too. They're just going to
not invited, but we'll just be through the window like this.
Hey, you guys could set up
Oh
and
my
do a live
God.
podcast in the
That is
corner
so
if you want
funny.
to. Play by play.
We'll be at the weed station.
Yeah, we'll be
Ryan and
don't
Brittany
work
will be
there.
rolling joints for everybody.
like licking them all. Okay. So
So-
the video submission, how long does it how long do you want it like maxed out? Because some people will be like, okay, this is a curated 2-hour short film. Like what's the max there? You want to know a little bit about them and who are they submitting it to? Your email?
So I've put a 90-second cap on the videos, mainly because like we want to be able to share them on
Sure.
social media as well, and we don't want to bore the
Mhm.
world, but also because I have to watch all of these submissions. Like, so it's time to watch however many hundreds of people are going to submit to
Yeah.
this if they're all 10 minutes in length.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want the email. I want the video to be of both of the people, so both of the people that are getting married, that are engaged, and I want them to tell me who they are and why they want to win this wedding. They should be emailing it to bestweddingever@trevents.ca. That's the email address.
Perfect.
And
we'll
they
put that
have
in the
until
show
the-
links. We'll put
Thank
your
you.
email in like in the show notes for people for sure.
They have until the 27th of September at 11:59 p.m. to get those submissions in.
Perfect.
And then
That's
when
awesome.
do the competitions commence?
Start?
So the judges and I are going to be meeting to decide who the 3 finalists are in early October. We're going to announce the finalists on October 10th, and the all 3 of those couples need to be available on October 23rd
Okay.
to take part in the competitions, and then we're opening it up to the world to vote on November 1st, and then announcing
Amazing.
the winner on the 17th of November.
Okay, so this is another good thing to know. All of the competitions will be done in one day, so it's not like they need to be like available throughout the space. Okay, that's also really great to know. Okay, can we
I'm
ask you
trying to
one
make it as
thing?
easy as possible for
Now,
everybody.
where
but
do we as
also,
the-
I want to have fun.
Where do we as the audience, how do we see this? Where do we go to see this?
Social.
So this is all on Instagram. Follow me at Trevents Planner, and you'll be able to see all the content, all the fun. And
Perfect.
I just love this because it really is getting people involved and excited about something
Yeah.
that they might be like super
Stressed
anxious
out.
about, and hopefully it like eases their pain.
Yes. Can we, before we leave, can you give everyone 2 pieces of advice coming from a professional wedding planner? Something that you would say, like, you would absolutely like must have at a wedding. Like, if I could give you advice, like, this is something that I think you should really put some work into because it's whatever, X, Y, and Z, and something that you're like, you know what, don't do this. It's not worth it for whatever reason, but just kind of 2 things just to get people thinking. Because oftentimes people will put so much effort or money into something and it doesn't pay off.
Yeah, good. Those are great questions. So I always say to people, hire a wedding planner. No, I'm just kidding. But
But not
hire a
really.
wedding planner, seriously. To really forget about what society is saying and what traditions there were in the past and what your parents are chirping in your ear and what the Kardashians are showing on their show, because usually that's unattainable.
Yeah.
I always say, put a bit of yourself into this wedding. Do something that you love, like that couple who wanted the weed bar. Like, they are big
Yes.
donors, and so that's something they wanted, and that's something they did, regardless of what their parents thought. Because the parents weren't very happy about it. But put a little bit of you in, and it makes your day feel so much more special.
Mm-hmm.
What people shouldn't do is let somebody else drive and direct them and tell them what they should be doing, because that's never going to end well. You're like, too much pressure when people are telling you what to do, and you may not enjoy your wedding if it's all planned by somebody else. And I don't mean me, I mean like a parent or a
listen
maid
to
of
me,
honor.
but everybody else
Yeah,
can,
listen to me, but everybody else.
You hired me for advice, so I'm giving
So
it to
true.
you, and
So
you better take it.
Stay true to yourself and make sure that you are evident in your day. I love that.
Is there something financially that you would say you don't need to spend that much money on that one thing? Is there anything like that? I know it's difficult. But is there one thing that you're like, people spend a lot of money on this and nobody notices it?
Yeah, But you know what? I'm going to tell you this offline because I'll have a lot of hate mail from vendors when I say, don't do this. And then that vendor's just going to be like, what the fuck are you telling
I
people?
love that.
Fair
I
enough.
love that so much. I mean, that'll just, I have some ideas. So that's all. We'll just leave it with you. I'm sure everybody can kind of guess.
There's nothing. Spend the money everywhere.
Be happy. Trevor, thank you so much for joining us. This was so much fun. We'll put all of the information in the show notes, and then we'll also share Trevor's Instagram, and we'll kind of keep up to date on all of these contests. We'll keep sharing them so that you guys can enter. Ooh, I'm so excited.
Get your submissions in before the 27th. They will choose the 3 by the 10th, and then we get to vote on the 1st of November,
Yes.
correct?
We'll see you rolling the buds at the wedding.
Absolutely correct.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Trevor.
This was so much fun.
We appreciate you
Our
immensely.
pleasure. Have a good one.
Take care.
You too.
Cause aside from my soul,